Hi, my name is Lisa, and I am going to show you today how to do synthetic division. So synthetic division is basically polynomial long division, but it's a much sort of faster, more efficient way to get through it. So when do you use something like synthetic division? Well, when you're in your unit learning about rational functions and you want to know whether a certain binomial is a factor of your polynomial, you would divide your polynomial by your binomial and see if your remainder is 0. So synthetic division lets you do this much more efficiently. All right, so I'm going to share screen right now so that you can see what I'm writing, and we'll go ahead and we'll do a problem of using synthetic division. All right, so there we go. There's our problem. And so our question is x minus 1 a factor of 2x cubed minus x squared plus 2x minus 3. All right, so the old school way of doing this would either be to attempt to group and factor this or to divide this into here. Okay, with polynomial division, here's our setup. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab each of the coefficients of the terms of our polynomials. So our highest degree term, x to the third, so we're going to put a 2. And then these all go in order. They don't skip any. So we have an x to the third, we have an x squared. And so our coefficient there, it says minus x squared. And so we know that's really a minus 1. Then we have a plus 2x, so the coefficient is a 2. And then we have a minus 3, so our coefficient is a 3. And you can see we didn't skip any terms. X to the third, x squared, x to the 1, and then the lack of x here is x to the 0. If we had been missing 1, if we did not go in order, we would enter 0 as the coefficient for the missing one. We'll do that in another. Okay, so that's our first setup, is we capture all these coefficients. Okay, now, over here, we have x minus 1. And so we make a little platform over here, and we're going to put 1. So our factor is always in the form x minus b. And what goes in here is the b. So if this says x minus 1, what goes in here is 1. If this had said x plus 1, then we know that the b that would make x minus b look like x plus 1 would be negative 1. It would be x minus minus 1. And again, we can do another example like that. Okay, so we've captured our coefficients. We've written down our b here. And to get started, we draw a line and we bring the first coefficient below the line. So synthetic division goes like this. You multiply these two. So 1 times 2 is 2. And then you add your way down. So negative 1 plus 2 leaves us with a positive 1. And then we multiply 1 times 1. We get a 1. And we add our way down. 2 plus 1 gets us a 3. And we multiply, 1 times 3 is a 3. And then we add our way down. Minus 3 plus 3 gets us 0. Now this right there is the gold. If we end up with 0, then yes, x minus 1 is a factor of this. Now, what are these numbers here? They are coefficients of our answer when we divide this by this. Now, these were coefficients of x to the third, x squared. This, because we divided, is the coefficient of 1 degree less than where we started. So this is 2x squared plus 1 x, so we just have to write it as an x, plus 3 and remainder of 0. So this is using synthetic division to answer the question, is this a factor of this? Now, let's take a minute and do this the old school way. Let's do this using polynomial division. And you're going to see how these numbers are similar. All right, so I'm going to set aside our synthetic division for a second. And instead, I'm going to write 2x cubed minus x squared plus 2x minus 3. And I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way and divide like that. So I have x minus 1 dividing in here, and that's, you'll see the same problem we were just working on. Okay, so the way I do this with polynomial division is, I like to say this is like the index finger. I go x times what will get me my 2x cubed? Okay, well, I already have 1x, so I need x squared more x to multiply to make that x cubed. And this is a 1, so I need to multiply by a 2. And now I'm going to multiply not just my first term, but my second term as well. So 2x squared times x gets me 2x to the third. And 2x squared times negative 1 is minus 2x squared. And now I do my subtraction. Well, 2x to the third minus 2x to the third is 0 because I built it that way. That's what this was about. And now minus x squared minus a minus 2x squared leaves me with a positive x squared. So again, synthetic division is multiplication and add. Polynomial division is multiplication and subtract. And the reason for that change is here we're dealing with the factor x minus 1. But for polynomial division, remember, we switched our x minus 1. This became a positive 1 because polynomial division works with the factor x minus b. So we made that adjustment. And so that's why this is plus. Okay, so continuing. Now I need more info to work with. So I pull down my next term. So plus 2x. And now I do it again. And I say, okay, x. What times x gets me my x squared? All right, that's a little simpler. That's just an x. I multiply through. X times x gets me my x squared. X times minus 1 gets me my minus x. I subtract. X squared minus x squared is 0 because I made it that way. 2x minus x, so that's 2x plus x. That gets me a 3x. And now I bring down my final term and I do it again. X times what is going to get me my 3x? Well, times a 3. I distribute through. 3 times x gets me 3x. 3 times minus 1 gets me minus 3. And lo and behold, 3x minus 3x is my 0. Minus 3 minus a minus 3. So minus 3 plus 3 also gets me a 0. Excuse me. And if you take a look, we've got the same thing. 2x squared plus x plus 3. 2x squared plus x plus 3, remainder 0. And then if you take a look, our coefficients are the same as well. It's just that this takes up this much, and polynomial division is kind of faster and more efficient. All right, so that's your first taste of what synthetic division is, how you do it, why it's the same thing as polynomial division, just kind of faster. So stay tuned for future videos where we'll take a look at what to do if you're missing a term, that idea of where you have to add a 0 into your coefficient. And we'll do some more long polynomial division as well, just to kind of get you used to that. All right, thank you for tuning in. I hope that was helpful. Feel free to leave comments.